Hey, YouTubers hold their microphones now. Hopefully this doesn't sound like shit, because there's birds all over the place and outside, there's dogs running around over there and all this shit, but hey, here we are to recap my year in movies. This is my top 10 list. You know, we always do it every single year. It's the obligatory video. You're expecting it probably, and it's just, it is what it is. I always make this video. Everybody always makes this video. It's as simple as that. These are the top 10 movies of 2023 for me. I just stopped recording, and then I realized that I didn't hit record on the microphone. So throughout the video, you're going to see me bringing the microphone closer to my mouth, and there won't be any difference in volume or anything like that. That is why. Starting off at number 10, I'm already kind of cheating because I have 3 entries in there at 10A, B, and C. First up, the one I want to talk about is Your Lucky Day at 10A. Your Lucky Day is a movie that I literally only learned the existence of 5 days ago, maybe. I watched it like 2 days ago, and man, it is exactly my type of movie. A lot of people are going to watch this movie and think that it got dumb by the end, or it goes too hard in its thriller ways. It starts to be a little bit unbelievable because maybe characters are stupid and all that stuff. But for me, there was something really compelling about it. This movie is about somebody who wins a lottery ticket in a convenience store, and subsequently somebody tries to rob them of that ticket, like immediately, straight away, within the convenience store. Most of this movie is taking place within that store, and it's just this really tense thriller with the final performance by Angus Cloud from Euphoria, just by the way, because unfortunately he passed away. And that dude is like charismatic as hell in this film, as he was in Euphoria and everything as well, and it's worth watching just for that, I would say. Then coming in at 10B is Flora and Son, which I wasn't really expecting to love all that much. I thought it was going to be okay, but you know, going into this film about music and stuff, it's directed by the guy that did Begin Again and what's that movie called? Sing Street. Got it. So, you know, you kind of know what you're getting into here, and yes, it's corny and stuff, but it's also really emotional, and I like the music quite a lot as well. Then at 10C is Thanksgiving, and finally we have sort of a definitive slasher film, like an original film. It's not a sequel like the Scream movies have been lately, or Halloween, or whatever. This is just a new slasher character that we haven't seen before, and it's exciting. Eli Roth kind of really knocked this one out of the park straight away. It's kind of a bona fide classic straight away, just instantly. This is a movie that people are going to watch for Thanksgiving, I assume. I don't know. I'm Australian. We don't celebrate Thanksgiving, so I don't really give a shit about that part, but this is definitely a fun film. Then next up at 9 is Cocaine Bear. If you watch this channel, I reviewed this movie, you know this was very much for me, because not only is it like a silly, you know, dumb, good, bad movie or whatever, where the bear is just killing a bunch of people. It is that, but there's other things in there too, like the dialogue between the characters. Like, this is actually a fucking fantastic comedy, and I think that a lot of people sort of lose that among the Cocaine Bear of it all. If that makes any sense. But I actually think that there's some good writing behind the film here, and I enjoyed it for those reasons, possibly even more than the Cocaine Bear itself. Except for that ambulance scene. That is one of the best scenes in all of 2023, easily. Love it. That is a classic as well, much like Thanksgiving is an instant slasher film. The ambulance scene in Cocaine Bear, instant classic. Then coming in at 8 is Infinity Pool. This is Cronenberg, not David Cronenberg, but his son Brandon Cronenberg's latest film. And it's basically like this sci-fi horror film about this weird exploit that people kind of exploit when they're introduced to a cloning technology. Basically, it gives them the power to not adhere to any such rules or laws in any way, because they can just get punished by basically being cloned again over and over again. And through that, we begin to see some apparent behavior by the protagonists of this film. And it's a really disturbing but really interesting film about what the consequences of cloning technology could possibly be if it's given into the hands of like rich assholes, basically. And yeah, it's definitely a very interesting film. I wouldn't say that it's as good as Possessor, Brandon Cronenberg's last film, unfortunately. I think Possessor is like a 10 out of 10. Infinity Pool is like, you know, 8.5 or something like that. But yeah, I liked it a lot. Then coming in at number 7, and this surprised the hell out of me, okay? But The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either. You know, like, I went into this film with no expectations at all. I wasn't expecting to like it all that much. I was going to be like, this seems completely unnecessary. Is this going to be the same shit as all the other ones? Which, to be fair, all the Hunger Games movies are good, to be honest. They're all pretty good. I even like Mockingjay Part 1, whatever. Everybody else hates it, but I'm a fan of it. And this film, this fifth sort of prequel very cool film. Might be my favorite. I actually think that it is my favorite of the lot. There's something really interesting here about the protagonist because he is very morally grey. And I thought that this film, for being like a YA young adults inspired film, really actually took some strides with showing some characters in terms of being assholes and villainous and stuff. It actually took some risks. You know, this film, for being aimed at mostly teenagers, I guess, actually had some teeth. It's sort of brutal in a way, which I guess shouldn't be that surprising when it comes to the Hunger Games and everything. It is a series about people killing each other and stuff, but I don't know, there's just something about this movie that really fucking worked for me, and I highly, highly recommend it, even to people who don't like the Hunger Games movies and stuff. Like, this one might just sway you. Then at number 6 is Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3. I think it's pretty definitive and easy to say that this is a fantastic film. It's honestly, it's one of the best of the MCU, kind of an instant classic straight away as well. Yeah, I don't know, James Gunn really nailed it. It's great. I don't know what else I can say. Then at number 5 is Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse, and come on, man, how could that not be in my top 10 list? I've watched this movie a few times now. The animation is obviously beautiful and all that shit, but what really gets to me about this film is it's fucking just energy, nerdiness. You know, it really leans into like showing all of these different sorts of like the multiverse shit, all the different Spider-Man and all that stuff and whatever, and it's just like fun as hell. But it also manages to actually be serious too. You really care for these characters. It's not just like, oh, that's so cool, look at all these Easter eggs. There's plenty of that shit there, but you also really care about the character of Miles, and like it's just expertly written and made as well. Like it's an emotional film, and it's really hilarious as well. That's something that I really love about these Spider-Verse movies too. Like, they're basically comedies, and I really appreciate that. Then next up at number 4 is Barbie. Now, this is kind of the movie of the year, and for good reason. Barbie is like this feminist iconic movie now, and there's nothing I don't love about it. It's absolute perfection, to be honest. It's not my number 1, but I'm happy to say that it's absolute perfection. Especially Ryan Gosling as Ken, and I know that it's like, that maybe isn't the best thing to say in a movie about women, celebrating women and all that stuff. Is not the best to say that Ryan Gosling was my favorite part, but this dude is so fucking funny in this movie. The part where he says that he wasn't interested in the patriarchy once he realized it wasn't just about horses, it's the best. He's Ken enough, whatever, all that shit. It's the best. I love him so much. And at the start, when he wants to come inside and hang out with Barbie, and she asks him to do what, and he's like, I don't know. And he just smiles like a dumbass. I'm just like saying random fucking things that happen in the movie now, but there's something about it that is special. It's sort of one of those movies that like doesn't come around every day. It really struck the world by storm, or whatever the phrase is. Everybody was talking about it. This was undeniably the biggest film of the year, and yeah, it definitely deserves to be here in my top 10 list because it's fucking fantastic, and it has some good things to say as well. Like, I actually really enjoyed the message. I know a lot of other people thought it was like heavy-handed and shit, but hey, is that such a bad thing when it's something important? Now I've got a bunch of honorable mentions. So first up, Insidious: The Red Door, which I'll be honest, disappointed me a bit, but I don't know. I wanted to mention it because I did enjoy it. I just didn't enjoy it nearly as much as the original films. The same goes with Saw X, which, yeah, that sort of really disappointed me, to be honest. I can't believe a Saw movie came out and it didn't make it into my top 10 list of the year. That's insanity, but here we are. Then there is Renfield, which was fun. The Boogeyman, which I wasn't expecting to like nearly as much as I did. That looked like the most generic horror shit ever, but I liked it. Then John Wick 4, which is just another John Wick movie. There's really nothing else that you can say about it. It's a John Wick movie. It's exactly what you think it's going to be. If you like John Wick, you're going to like John Wick 4. Scream 6, pretty much the same deal as John Wick 4, except it's a Scream movie, obviously. Then there is The Flash, which is another movie that I actually thought was really good, despite a bunch of other people sort of shitting on that. I know the CGI is pretty ugly and all that stuff and whatever, but I don't really care about that stuff all that much. I just thought like it was a funny movie that I liked seeing like the time travel hijinks ensue and all that shit. And so I had a pretty fun time with that one, to be honest. Same goes with Elemental, which is underrated as fuck in my opinion. I don't know what everybody was smoking when they went to go see this and said that this is like Pixar's worst film in years and all this stuff. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. The fact that Pixar made a rom-com was something a little bit different, so that's something to appreciate. But I also just think that there was actually quite a lot in here in terms of it being like this detailed world, you know, based on all the elements and stuff. The characters are like pretty funny and everything. Like, I like the water guy who's really emotional and cries satirize and all this shit. And, you know, there's a bit of stuff to say about immigration and racism and stuff like that. I mean, look, is it the deepest film with the most important things to say and all this stuff? No, of course not, but it's a film for kids. I don't know what else. I don't know what you're expecting. Like, you know, I thought it was good. And then my last honorable mention is Dumb Money. And honestly, this could have made it into my top 10. It's just that I probably didn't understand everything that I was supposed to. I don't know shit about stocks and all this stuff. So when like things are happening in the film and I'm meant to be like, whoa, I'm kind of scratching my head like, wait, what does that mean again? So that dude made a bunch of money or something? I don't know. But it was pretty entertaining. All right, now we're up to the top 3. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Top 3 movies of 2023. First up at number 3 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which I didn't see for like 2 or 3 months after it actually released because I didn't really give a shit about it. I saw the trailer when I went to see Across the Spiderverse and I thought it looked really bad. I was like, wow, I'm not interested in that. Then eventually my sister came to visit. She lives in interstate. She came down to Melbourne. We went to go see it together and my God. Tears of laughter, of emotion, of just having a good time watching this movie with my sister. There was so much about this film that worked for me in a way that I wasn't expecting. Like, I don't know, they really nailed the characters. Obviously, I grew up watching Ninja Turtles and all this shit. Like, I don't know why I said obviously. That's not obvious exactly. You don't know me. But I don't know. There's just, you really felt the brotherly bond between these characters and stuff. And I don't know. It was good. I guess there's not much else to say about it. It was just really fucking good, okay? It was really, really good. Now, number 2 is Evil Dead Rise, which, I'll be honest, for the entire year, since April when I saw it, this has been my top pick for best movie of the year. But you know what? Last minute, literally right before I started recording this, I chucked it out. I'm like, nah, that's number 2. Something else has taken its place. Evil Dead Rise is a really intense film all set within like this one apartment building with like Satan itself, not really, but some demon possessing the mother of this family as she basically terrorizes this family and a bunch of other people and stuff within this apartment building. It's very like intense, but it's also very, very over the top and gory and silly, and it really leans into the campy side of things, much like all of the Evil Dead films do. But it doesn't do it so much so that it takes the horror away. This is a legitimately creepy film. It's fucking sick. I love it. Okay, and now we're up to number 1, but like with entry 10, I've got a couple entries here. So at 10A is a movie called Of an Age, which you may not have heard of. This is definitely one that has gone under the radar. It is a gay romance movie set in Melbourne, I think shot in Melbourne as well. And, oh man, nothing quite hit me as hard as this film did all year, to be honest. I want to recommend this one to every single fucking person in the world. Should watch Of an Age, to be honest. It's remarkable in just about every way, and it's really, really, really like intimate as well. Like in this way where you really, really feel for the characters. Basically, it's a film in 2 halves. The first half being it's about these characters who have just met trying to get somewhere on time as they bond on this sort of road trip, I suppose. And I won't say where it goes from there because the second half of the film is very different. But yeah, it's just great. And then the number 1B, the best movie of the year, I would say. This is the best movie of the year. Much like Barbie, it's sort of been the movie of 2023, except just in the entirely polar opposite side of things, within the horror genre, and that is Talk to Me. Talk to Me is a movie that everybody has been talking about ever since it came out. I've watched it again since I saw it in cinemas, and I love it. I love everything about it. There's something really interesting about the approach that it takes when it comes to its like supernatural possession thing being an allegory for drug addiction, basically. I've never seen that before. It's definitely a very fresh take that I appreciated. It's horrific. The characters are written super, super well, especially the protagonist, who isn't that likable and who constantly fucks up and who, like, she's a very flawed character, but I think that's what makes it really special, because you see that she's screwing up the entire time. You're like, stop, but you understand why she does what she does for the entire film. And the ending is incredible as well. I won't say what it is, but they just, like, everything about Talk to Me is honestly, again, like Barbie and stuff like that, absolute perfection. Talk to Me is definitely a movie that deserves being talked about, and I'm glad that it has been. I'm surprised that it has been, though. Like, Like, this feels like a movie that I would have seen this year, nobody else would have ever heard of, and I would have been like, please, everybody go fucking see it. Like in 2016, there was this Australian movie called Boys in the Trees. Fucking incredible. And nobody saw it, and nobody's seen it since still. Nobody gives a fuck about it, but I don't know. Talk to Me is sort of like the second Boys in the Trees here. Just another recommendation for you right there. Go watch Boys in the Trees. But I'm glad that Talk to Me is getting the recognition that it deserves. And being a YouTuber talking about the film Talk to Me, I have an obligation to mention that YouTube has made it, because every single YouTuber that talked about Talk to Me this year was like, oh, actually YouTube has made it. Ooh. And then they all followed that up by saying, I've never actually watched these YouTubers or heard of them, but hey, it's cool, huh? And honestly, I could say the same thing. And so, yeah, that is my list of the best films of 2023. Let me know what yours are in the comments, all that shit, blah, blah, blah. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do the things, whatever. The shit that you have to say at the end of YouTube videos, you know? And I guess that's all. Cool. Goodbye.